What's up, everybody? Ryan Michael Ballo here. To quick talk about the commercial nootropics that are available and what I think of some of the major ones. I'm going to talk about Optimind, Alpha Brain, and CILTEP, and just sort of explain what I think of those nootropics and how they affected me. Alpha Brain, we'll start with Alpha Brain, is a combination of alpha GPC, oat straw extract, L-tyrosine, L-theanine, there's some Bacopa monnieri in there, and I think AC11, which is like this herb in like the Amazon rainforest or something. Pretty interesting combination of stuff, and also some huperzine A. Not entirely original, just a sort of run-of-the-mill nootropic stack, like I think most stacks that are out there are, which is not a bad thing. I'm just saying it's not super unique. And that's basically it. I started taking Alpha Brain, it had to have been like 5 or 6 years ago. It was a long time ago. Kind of right when it first launched, after it had been out for a little bit of time, but not a significant amount of time. And that was really my first commercial stack that I tried. And I gotta say, I liked it. I liked Alpha Brain a lot. It didn't give me a consistent effect, but I would notice that when I took it for 3-4 hours, I'd have pretty consistently good verbal fluency, but there would be bursts of brain performance and focus and energy that would last 20-30 minutes at a time, which were useful. That would take place during the time that I was taking Alpha Brain. And so Alpha Brain is priced, I think, right around where Cortex is priced at $34-$35. But and it's the same dosage it's the same dose quantity as Cortex. Is 2 capsules per serving, so you get 15 servings per bottle. So pretty similarly market in the whole market scheme compared to Cortex, but a good nootropic. Every nootropic affects different people differently. So I know a lot of people who take Alpha Brain and like it and swear by it, and it helps them focus. It all depends on what your brain needs at the time. If you need more tyrosine, which is an Alpha Brain, great. If you need more of a bioavailable choline source like alpha GPC, which is an Alpha Brain, it's totally going to benefit you. If you don't need that stuff, you might run into side effects, and it might not benefit you whatsoever. Who knows? But for me, Alpha Brain was actually pretty cool. You can get Alpha Brain on its website, onnit.com/Alpha Brain, I think is the URL. I have no affiliation with them. I'm just saying, we compete with them with Cortex. I'm just saying that I'm not one of those guys that likes to exclusively push my product. I've tried these other products, and I just want to tell you guys what I think of them. So that's Alpha Brain. Let's talk about CILTEP. CILTEP is much more original than Alpha Brain in that it has different ingredients: artichoke extract, acetyl L-carnitine, forskolin, a few other things, B vitamins. The primary allure around CILTEP is that it is supposed to be strong in this thing called PDE4 inhibition, which inhibits an enzyme from being broken down in your brain, allowing more cyclic adenosine monophosphate, or CAMP, in your brain, which is supposed to facilitate more brain energy. That's the sort of non-scientific version of it. So that's the contention of the people from CILTEP, natural stacks that push the stack, and that's it. Very many people report very positive results with CILTEP. Brain energy, focus, mental performance, etc. Some people it doesn't work for them at all, and other people, they have negative effects, which is basically with most nootropics, so nothing bad there. My personal experience with CILTEP is that it really didn't do a whole lot for me except for give me a strange pressure in my forehead. That's all it really did for me. I think it was all right. I felt a little optimized, but nothing substantial, just a strange pressure. And then later on, it ended up giving me a headache, and that happened all 3 times that I tried it. Who knows what it was? Maybe the PDE4 inhibition is a little too much for me. Maybe I had some sort of negative reaction to forskolin and artichoke extract as a combination. I don't know. I'd say that the one major ingredient in there that really does work well for me, which the artichoke extract and the forskolin seem to probably mitigate or inhibit, is ALCAR, acetyl L-carnitine. Very powerful nootropic that I've taken for quite some time, years in fact, that always works predictably the same way, that gives me brain energy. It just didn't work for me all that well in combination with the other ingredients that are in CILTEP. So I really didn't get a whole lot from CILTEP. But I think a lot of other people do, and don't let me deter you from trying it. Please, if you take away anything from this, understand that all nootropics affect people differently. And if you're thinking about trying CILTEP, go for it. Many people try CILTEP and they like CILTEP. It just didn't operate all that well for me. The next nootropic I want to talk about is Optimind. Optimind is a combination of a bunch of different things and attempts to sort of mimic low-dose Adderall or non-prescription Adderall, which is similar to what Cortex tries to do. A lot of people are coming from Adderall that come and take Cortex and end up taking Cortex instead because it doesn't give them side effects like Adderall does. But what we really set out to do with Cortex is create a low to medium dose modafinil, which if it works for you, which it does for most people, that's what people end up getting. It's just this super wakefulness, a lot of mental energy, a lot of memory, a lot of verbal fluency. But Optimind, the usual suspects, tyrosine, huperzine A, some choline sources, etc. I took Optimind, the regular dosage, and I experimented with an entire bottle of it and took a considerable amount of it, and it definitely worked for me. There's no question about it. It gave me a lot of mental energy. It gave me a lot. It almost gave me too much mental energy. It put me in a place where I was excessively stimulated, which for me particularly wasn't a great thing. But for people who might need more energy, it might be a great thing. As we come back to the difference between certain nootropics, it lasted a considerably long time, probably about 6 or 7 hours. And then after about 4 hours of massive stimulation, it really stimulated my brain, probably because of the L-tyrosine content. I did notice a pretty good information retention benefit. Like I was reading information, scientific studies, engaging in the work that I do as an entrepreneur, and my brain was retaining information considerably better than normal. And I probably attribute that to the huperzine A, which is an acetylcholine esterase inhibitor, which is pretty powerful for information and logic functioning and information retention. That stops an enzyme from breaking down acetylcholine, the neurotransmitter responsible for some of those things in your brain. So it worked out pretty interesting after the massive beginning of stimulation. So recapping, Alpha Brain, probably the best out of all of them for me. Good verbal fluency benefits, small bursts of mental energy and productivity throughout a 4 to 5 hour span. Pretty interesting nootropic. CILTEP did virtually nothing for me but give me a headache and have pressure on my forehead, but that's probably because I was responding negatively to either the dosages or the artichoke extract and forskolins capacity to inhibit PDE4 in my brain. It just didn't work all that well for me. It works well for very many other people. I'm not downplaying it. I just think that's my experience with it. And Optimind definitely worked for me. A little too much energy, so I couldn't really concentrate all that much in the first couple hours, but thereafter a nice, smooth energy and information retention capacity, which was pretty cool, right? That's where you talk about it's a nootropic. That's what you're looking for. I mean, if I want energy, I'll drink some taurine or a Monster. If I want functional benefits, that's where nootropics come in. That's what I sort of define as nootropics more so these days, like aniracetam. That's what we tried to mimic Cortex off. That's basically it. All pretty cool stacks, all relatively cheap stacks. You can go and buy them on the web. Just Google them, find them on the respective websites, and very, very, very many positive reviews on all those stacks. So I'm sure they benefit lots of people, and I think if you're looking to try those stacks, you got to try it and see if it works for you. But that's how they worked for me. If you have not tried our stack, the ultimate stack, Cortex, we've got a ton of Cortex left, and we started off with, I don't know the exact number, it was thousands of bottles. The product launched in 2016, February 2016. We have since gotten very many units within the United States Army to try it, and it's sort of been like a viral hit within the United States military. People on Wall Street use it to crunch numbers and have their brains work better. I just got an email from somebody recently who said, man, my wife is a financial analyst, and typically 3-4 p.m. her brain just stops working the way that she wants it to work, and she just can't get work done thereafter. But taking Cortex, she's sitting there 7-8 p.m. doing extra work. It's helped her make more money. It's helped the company that she works for. Her brain works a whole lot better. She notices it. He takes it to the wife's husband and says, my job is primarily about communication, and my ability to communicate with people, meaning my verbal fluency is totally improved and maxed. So much better taking Cortex. I love the product. Thank you for making a good product. Quoting the guy, thank you for making such a good product. We made a nootropic that tries to mimic medium dose modafinil, but also instead of just solely giving you energy and mental energy, it also improves functional capacities of your brain. Like you have better working memory, you have better verbal fluency, you have better sentence formation, you have better focus ability, better mental endurance. All that stuff comes with our stack Cortex. That is why we call it the workhorse. That's a sort of secondary name for Cortex. We're not trying to be hyperbolic. We're trying to have a title workhorse that is symbolic with the functioning of the nootropic. Primary ingredients are uridine monophosphate and CDP choline in undisclosed amounts, because we got to keep it secret, at least for now, till we launch the next generation, which will be in about a year or so. But I think you're going to love it. Most people respond to Cortex and truly love Cortex. Go read the reviews at livecortex.com. Buy the stack at livecortex.com. Buy the stack to support the broadcast here of us talking about nootropics at livecortex.com. And thanks for watching.